Nintendo seems to be done with rumors, as they pretty much made an announcement of the Switch 2 before they said they would. The Supreme Court has made their stance on TikTok official, and it's not necessarily good. The Apple versus Samsung rivalry now shows that even more expensive phones can win. That iPhone 16e or SE finally has more credible images of what we should expect in a few months. And yes, those wondering just how thin that iPhone 17 Air is, it seems Samsung can't even catch up. I'm Jaime Rivera, and here I was thinking this would be a slow news week. We have 5 topics today, and I promise I did my best to condense it. This is Tech Briefing. We pretty much have 2 or 3 official segments today, so let's begin with that TikTok drama. The Supreme Court has ruled that a law requiring TikTok's Chinese parent company ByteDance to sell the application or face a US ban is constitutional as applied to TikTok. Yes, the decision pretty much highlights the ongoing conflict between free expression and national security concerns. And sure, the court acknowledged TikTok's massive popularity with over 170 million American users as a platform for creativity and community. However, it also emphasized Congress's concerns that TikTok's data collection practices and its potential vulnerability to influence from the Chinese government is a problem. The ruling states that the government has a valid reason to treat TikTok differently due to its connection to a foreign adversary and the sensitive data it collects. Unless ByteDance sells TikTok, the application is set to be banned in the United States starting January 19, 2025. President Joe Biden could extend the deadline, but reports suggest the administration might leave enforcement to President-elect Donald Trump, who will be sworn in the day after the ban takes effect. Trump has said he will try to save TikTok, but it's unclear as to how. And also, guess what? It is reported that TikTok CEO is expected to attend Trump's inauguration after being invited to sit in a position of honor, pretty much where former presidents, family members, and other important guests traditionally are seated. If the ban is enforced, TikTok has reportedly planned to go offline in the United States altogether. Major service providers like Apple, Google, and Oracle face potential risk if they continue supporting the application after the ban as well. And sure, we have heard of potential buyers like Project Library and also Elon Musk, but who knows how that will end? Would be interesting to hear what you think about all this in the comments. Now let's begin with the first segment that involves Apple and Samsung, as things seem to be converging into a different path. And alright, let me explain. For the longest time, Samsung has reigned supreme as the world's biggest smartphone maker, which makes sense because they have an insane amount of Galaxy devices out there. It dwarfs Apple's iPhone lineup by a lot, and yet it seems Apple has taken over. Both Canalys and IDC say Apple is now number 1 worldwide, while Counterpoint Research claims that Samsung still leads by about 1%. Still, the overall trend shows Apple gaining ground, since there's proof this switch also happened in 2023. Xiaomi secured 3rd place in 2024, 13.6% of the market share, with nearly 170 million phones shipped. Trends on, including brands like Tecno, came in 4th with 107 million units, and then Oppo, which includes OnePlus, was close behind at 105 million. Interestingly, Apple and Samsung were the only top 5 brands that saw their shipments shrink, even though the smartphone market actually grew overall. Samsung has been focusing on foldable phones in recent years, but demand for them has dropped. IDC reports that interest in foldables is flat, and companies are shifting focus to AI instead. This matches Samsung's own plans, as it seems to be scaling back its foldable projects in 2025. I'm curious to know what you think about this in the comments, because in my opinion, it has everything to do with the price point, but then again, if Apple is winning, then that doesn't really hold water. You know, I've read your comments, and sure, I also wonder why companies are obsessing over making smartphones thinner instead of giving us bigger batteries on existing ones. The problem is that the 2 best-selling phones of all time were known best because they were thin, so I guess the challenge for 2025 continues to be that. We've heard how Samsung and Apple are gearing up to launch some of their thinnest smartphones yet, with early leaks suggesting that Apple's rumored iPhone 17 Air brings a ton of design changes to what we currently know. And then on the other end, we've discussed how Samsung is already preparing a Galaxy S25 Slim, which could get announced and unpacked next week, though hard to predict at this point. Well, for those of you wondering who will make the thinner phone, new reports claim that the crown is going to Apple. If you remember, we recently covered how the iPhone 17 Air will be just 5.5mm thick, which is insane even compared to the recent M4 iPad Pros the company launched in 2024. Thing is, a new batch of information claims that Samsung will lag behind then by almost a full millimeter at 6.4. Heck, once you account for the camera bump, we even hear it goes almost to 8.3mm, though we're still looking into how Apple's going to handle that camera lens in such a thin body. And sure, for any Galaxy fans, the slim variant will be a millimeter thinner than the Galaxy S25 Plus and double that of the S25 Ultra. Let's just see how it goes, because I don't even know where we should account for foldables in this mix, because they're even going crazier than that when extended. Let me know what you think about this in the comments. Just seriously, how much do you care? And speaking of Apple, let's switch to more information about that iPhone SE, or should I say iPhone 16e. I know, it's still hard to predict what the final name will be, but going forward, I'm just going to call it 16e because that seems to be where things are going. So far, we've talked names and possible designs, but once you involve case makers, things get a lot more credible. Recently, Sony Dickinson shared photos of dummy units that supposedly belong to this iPhone 16e, which means we're at that final design stage where manufacturers can base their cases on. From these, we get to see that the new iPhone 16e resembles more of what we remember from the base iPhone 14 in its design. The dummy model shows an aluminum frame with a glass back and a single rear camera following a much larger footprint than we're used to, giving it more of iPhone XR vibes. While some reports suggest it might feature an action button and camera control like the iPhone 16, these dummy models only include an alert slider. This doesn't rule them out completely, but listen, I'm sure case makers are playing it safe and already know what's coming from the supply chain. Now, as for internals, rumors continue to mention A17 Pro as the chip, which I know is a bit ironic to have a Pro name on a mid-ranger, along with 8 gigs of RAM, and that camera is apparently the same Fusion model at 48 megapixels that we currently have with the iPhone 16. This would be the first time Apple doesn't reuse an old design for its special edition, making it more likely that this will be the iPhone 16 Essential. I'm curious to know what you think in the comments, because apparently the price will remain $499 or probably a bit more. And finally, for the hottest news today, let's talk about Nintendo. And listen, I know, a part of me wanted to hold back the previous tech briefing because just minutes prior to pushing it live, the company just decided to drop a bomb on the internet. Nintendo has officially shared the first details about its next console, the Nintendo Switch 2, on a video released on Thursday. If you remember, the company's CEO claimed he would make an official announcement in late March, but it seems the leaks were just too hard to handle. The Switch 2 looks very similar to the original Switch, but slightly larger. Following the past leaks, we covered the Joy-Con controllers have a fresh design, featuring a darker design with color accents. And then instead of sliding these on and off the sides of the console, the Joy-Con snap on easily, possibly using the magnets discussed, and we just hope these are strong. Some key changes include a new possible capture button under the home button on the right Joy-Con, which matches earlier rumors, and then a larger SL and SR buttons as well. The Joy-Cons also seem to work like a mouse in some situations, as shown briefly in the video, which yes, we've seen Lenovo do with their first Legion Go, and also the successor. Other updates include a top-mounted USB-C port next to the 3.5mm headphone jack, a slimmer kickstand with a smarter U-shape in what seems to be a metallic finish, a redesigned bottom dock, which pretty much points to there being a second USB-C port, and then a controller grip that'll take advantage of that magnetic design. While there's no exact release date yet, we do expect Nintendo to make a full announcement at their Nintendo Direct event on April 2nd and probably also on March 31st. That said, it seems that fans will be able to try it in New York, Los Angeles, and Dallas, with tickets already being live for this. So let me know in today's question, what do you think of this new Nintendo Switch 2? Because listen, in my case, I am kind of mixed. I do like it a lot. I love the Switch for so many reasons, but I do wonder what happened to miniaturization. Like, technology has advanced so much in 8 years that I seriously wonder, why is this console not slimmer on the same footprint? But listen, that's just me. Leave us a comment down below. We'd love to know your opinion. Friends, again, Tech Briefing is a work in progress, and for us to continue into the next phase, we need your support. But listen, it's the good kind of support, where all we ask is for you to like, subscribe, and comment, as we love those conversations. Tell your friends I've started a new channel, and also follow me on social media, which is also of huge support. Tech Briefing alone is the work of 3 people, so we really hope you like what you see. I'm Jaime Rivera. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you on the next one.